2018-2019 national budget laid out by the finance minister. The Grand Bahama Power Company sharing its hurricane plan. And a former labor leader to be honored.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all. I'm Shashina Roll-Farquharson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the Free National Movement Administration presenting its 2018-2019 budget in the House of Assembly today, outlining how it plans to restore prudent fiscal management and eliminate a major debt. While there is good news tonight, Sabrina Brown tells us that Bahamians can also expect an increase in taxation.
Minister of Finance, the Honorable K. Peter Turnquest, delivering the 2018-2019 budget communication, describing it as a landmark budget and the most transformative in the history of the Bahamas, as it seeks to put an end to past practices of fiscal mismanagement and begin to pay off some $360 million in arrears. Most notably in the communication, an increase in the rate of value-added tax from 7.5% to 12%.
Government fully appreciates the sacrifice. The substantial increases in the VAT rate and other taxes will represent to our citizens. But as I have repeatedly said on record, this government was elected to do what is right for the welfare of the country and not to do what is politically expedient or politically popular. Facing the situation that we have, we could do as governments have done before and simply present a misleading budget with under-budgeted allocations and hidden obligations. We could have kicked the can down the road and borrowed some more, delaying the inevitable day of reckoning. By playing this game, we'd have only made a bad situation worse.
But there are also some relief measures for Bahamians. Value-added tax will be eliminated from breadbasket items, with the exception of sugar for health reasons.
This would mean the elimination of VAT on the following items: butter, cooking oil, mayonnaise, grits, cheese, corned beef. No tax on corned beef. Evaporated milk, margarine, rice, flour, bread, tomato paste, baby cereal, baby formula, soups, broths, baby food, power detergents, condensed milk, soaps, fresh milk, and mustard.
VAT is also being eliminated from medicines and residential property insurance. Customs exemption for personal travel will be increased from $300 to $500 per person twice per year. The government is also focused on protecting Bahamians from vulnerabilities when it comes to a major injury or illness.
That the government will, in this upcoming fiscal year, also introduce the first phase of the catastrophic care insurance plan under NHI during the coming fiscal year, extending real and tangible critical health care coverage to Bahamians throughout the country.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
The start of the Atlantic hurricane season is just around the corner, and the Grand Bahama Port Authority is leading the way in mobilizing stakeholders to ensure that a preparedness plan is in place. Port officials hosting a press conference today where corporate partners outline their plan of action, among them the Grand Bahama Power Company. Italia Hall has the story.
The Grand Bahama Port Authority pulling partners from across Grand Bahama who are primarily responsible for the maintenance of Grand Bahama before, during, and after a hurricane. The group was able to discuss plans that are in place for the upcoming season, including the power company that plays a vital role during the time of a storm. Vice President of Transmission and Distribution at the Grand Bahama Power Company, Frank Woodworth, shared a little bit about their plans for the 2018 hurricane season, and he says they are are prepared and ready to go for any storm that may come this way.
We're in constant preparation and insurance that we have the proper stock and materials, manpower, and all the things that we need to make sure that we can conduct a safe and effective restoration if in the event of a hurricane occurs. We're actively working with our stakeholders to make sure that, as mentioned, any activities that include the stakeholders are well prepared ahead of time.
And from a safety perspective,
definitely want to encourage the general public to report any wires that seem to be low or damaged. Don't assume that they're not energized.
He says residents must be cautious when using portable generators.
Please make sure that you refer to the manufacturer's recommendations for how those generators are installed. If you're not sure, we encourage you to approach a qualified electrician that can help make sure the generator is properly installed. There's risks to the consumer from an emissions perspective, the generators in the house, but also risks to our linemen as they're restoring power if the generator is installed inappropriately and feeding onto our power system.
The VP says the power system is designed with redundancies in place that will protect the system and customers.
In Irma, through the day, things went well. We had feeders tripping off and on, and we were able to keep the customers on. After supper, the wind really picked up and things started to deteriorate, and we got to a point that there was too many faults on the system, and it was actually jeopardizing our plant and some of the transformers in our substations. So at that point, we did have to shut things down, but we make every effort to keep things up and running as long as we possibly can.
He says if persons have any other concerns, they should reach out to the power company as soon as possible. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Natalia Hall.
Well, meantime, President of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Ian Roll, admonishing corporate partners to do everything possible to ensure that a contingency plan is in place in the event of a storm. But in the meantime, he is hoping that Grand Bahama is spared this time around.
I urge each and every resident and those who seek to travel to our island to adhere to weather advisories and shop for supplies beforehand, rather than accept the risk of being unprepared with disaster hits. Our city management and GB utility members have worked rigorous hours ensuring that our city of Freeport is prepared heading into this severe weather season.
Now, in the event of a storm, he is sharing these important safety tips.
This is the time to update your safety and first aid kits, check expiration dates on food items, and purchase batteries for flashlights, lamps, and radios. Store important documents such as your passport, bank cards, etc. in durable, resealable storage bags. Ensure purchase medications from your pharmacy in advance. Purchase non-perishable food items and have drinking water to last for each family for at least 7 days.
In other news, members of the Bahamas National Trust on Grand Bahama last night to discuss two major projects slated for East and West Grand Bahama. Kimberly Mullings has the details.
Members of the Bahamas National Trust meeting with residents and stakeholders of West End Grand Bahama in an effort to discuss the Bahamas Protected Project. Anessa Lundy, BNT Marine Science Officer, says they wanted to speak with stakeholders in the community to find out what was important to them in the national park and how they wanted the BNT to assist.
We didn't want to come in just with a stroke of a pen and make decisions. We wanted to know from the onset, what are the areas of interest for you? Where do you want us as a scientific team to go and check out for you? And they were able to identify a site or two, I think, maybe even 3 at this point, for the team to go in, the scientific team to go in and assess.
The BNT is working along with the Bahamas Reef Environment Education Foundation and the Bahamas Nature Conservancy to carry out the project. Lundy says a scientific team is on standby locally to begin assessments in West End as early as next week. The Marine Science Officer also noted that the BNT is working on a community-based conch management project with the Nature Conservancy in West and East Grand Bahama, funded by the Inter-American Development Bank and the Japan Special Fund for Poverty Reduction.
The goal of the project is really to help alleviate the fishing pressure on the queen conch. while improving the livelihoods of Grand Bahamians. So the community that is really fishing. Anywhere I went in the Bahamas through the conservation campaign that I managed at Bahamas National Trust, anywhere I went in the country, oh, you gotta go to West End, oh, you gotta go to East End, that's right, you gotta go to McLeanstown, you gotta go. You wanna talk about Congo, you have to go to Grand Bahama. And when I finally came here through an initial grant from the IDB, the community was really receptive to working with the BNT. They were
It is a $500,000 non-reimbursable grant, meaning it doesn't have to be paid back. Lundy says they're hoping to work with local fishermen to complete the project, which will prove to be beneficial for all.
The funding is really going to be pumped into the community. We're going to work with the community to create a protected area. This is why I was here at the meeting, able to help with the mapping exercises. Survey the areas, work with the community to manage that area. So what type of management it looks like, and we are a management agency, so we know what it takes to manage a site.
The project is already in motion with a socioeconomic survey, as the BNT already has persons on the ground this week carrying it out in West Grand Bahama, East End, and Sweetings Key.
So I was here in April with the Nature Conservancy team, and we had some focus groups with some fishermen. They told us the kind of concerns that they had, the kind of questions or projects that they want to work on, and we designed a survey, and we are here this week on the ground in Grand Bahama conducting that survey. We've trained University of Bahamas volunteers. They're going to be survey enumerators.
Kimberly Mullings, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, continues right after this.